Woohoo! All right, we're ready to rock and roll. Hey, good morning or good evening. Wow, I'm so used to conservative cat in the mornings. Good evening. It's 7 p.m. 7:07. The polls have been closed now for about 7 minutes, but as long as you got in line by 7 o'clock, they're still going to take you. So we've got so much to get to, folks. Uh, right now, I want to give you the most up-to-date information I've got as far as the states. Obviously, the polls just closed, so I don't have anything quite local right now. But we've got Indiana called. We've got Kentucky. We've got West Virginia. All of those states are called. South Carolina is leaning deeply red. Florida leaning red. Vermont has been called for Kamala Harris. There are 270 electoral votes needed to win, and Donald Trump has 23 of them so far, and Kamala Harris has 3. He needs Pennsylvania, folks. He needs Pennsylvania. So we're going to be talking a lot about local elections here tonight. It's going to be very Illinois focused. We're going to be focusing on state house race, the 91st state house district. That's Desi Anderson and Sharon Chung. Sharon Chung is the Democrat incumbent. Then we're also going to be focusing on the state Senate race with Dave Kaler. He's the incumbent. And then Sally Owens is the challenger. That's state Senate District 46. Then we're going to be taking a look at the McLean County Board. Lots of races there. We're going to take a look at the referendum on the ballot in McLean County. Now, there was some crazy things that happened this morning in Champaign County. The machines went down. They went offline, off network or whatever. I've heard multiple things. I've heard people say, oh, it was due to power outages, which is just wacko bizarre. But there's a few things happening around the country that I'm going to get to first, and then I'll get to the Illinois abnormalities. That's what I'm going to call these. They're just abnormalities, and it's rattling the confidence of the voter. So, like I said, I don't know who's walking into a booth and saying, oh, yeah, Kamala Harris all the way. Definitely the abortionists. But I don't know anybody outside of the abortionists who are voting for Kamala Harris. It's like, you go outside, you find some dog poop, and you perfectly just step in the dog poop, and then you go walk on a on a white carpet. Right? That's what voting for Kamala Harris feels like to me. Just like, why would you purposely just step on the dog poop, fill every crevice of the bottom of your shoe, and then go step on a white carpet? Because that's what it feels like to go vote for Kamala Harris. I don't know who's doing that, because whenever I hear her speak or do anything, it's so cringy. I feel like my heart is burning, my stomach is burning, and I need a Tums. So Trump has already beat Kamala. Let's be honest. He's just got to beat the election fraud that's going on. So in the city of Milwaukee, this just in, about 40,000 absentee ballots are going to have to be recounted due to an issue with one tabulator. I guess the tabulator wasn't sealed. So as a precaution, the city is going to recount each ballot. I don't know. It doesn't pass the sniff test for me. It feels like an abnormality. They're recounting 40,000 absentee ballots. Okay. And that's going to be a dump, folks, because they've got to recount these things. These ballots, these mail-in ballots. So they got to recount them at the end because a tabulator wasn't sealed. Feels off to me. There's also this in Michigan, a Chinese national. His vote is counting. He's not a citizen of the United States. He voted a few days prior to the November 5th election, and this just in. His vote's going to count. They don't care. And Republicans, we have continued to voice election security concerns. And in that state, in Michigan, former Secretary of State Ruth Johnson, she is a Republican state senator. She said that the party has every right to be concerned, specifically because in Michigan, there are 35,000 people registered to vote in 2024, and the data does not pass muster. So, quote, here's from Johnson, a Republican state senator in Michigan. She says, so far in 2024, there have been 34,535 individuals whose name, date, and birth, date of birth and social security numbers do not match any record found in the social security database. So this is a huge increase from the previous years. This is very alarming to me. So there you have it, folks. A couple of things going on across the nation. Like I said, we're going to be getting some votes. It looks like there might be Possibly some results here in just a few moments. I'm looking, nothing yet from McLean County. Now, there are 2 election authorities that I am going to be looking at today. Nothing from the McLean County. That's an election authority. We have 2 election authorities here in McLean County. Don't know why. I feel like we're one of only few counties in the state to have something like this. I don't think that there should be 2 election authorities. It just breeds more problems. But you've got the Bloomington Election Commission as well, and there are no results as of right now. So I just refreshed my pages. I'm going to take a look across the nation here, see if there's anything new that I need to update you on. But here's some things that happened in Champaign County today. So Champaign County Clerk's Office, they withdrew their motion to extend voting hours. Whoa, I didn't even know that they were extending voting hours. Yeah, they wanted to extend it from 7 to 9. So we were going to have one county in the entire state extend their hours to count more ballots until 9 p.m. But that was shut down, that motion. Well, they withdrew that motion. The Champaign County State's Attorney, Julia Reitz, we're going to get to her in just a second, but the voting is officially ending in Champaign County at 7 o'clock, just like McLean County. Now, I think there's nefarious things going on in Champaign County, and here's my gut reaction to that. I knew there was a sales tax referendum. The sales tax referendum, they've spent $62,000 of taxpayer funds to advertise this thing, to get you to vote yes for it. Okay, they've advertised it. There's also the elimination of county auditor in Champaign County. We have that here in McLean County as well. So they are clearly trying to they're wanting to get these things passed. They want to eliminate the county auditor position to get rid of government transparency and accountability. And then they're also trying to pass the sales tax referendum because they're mismanaging their funds, really, because you've got $62,000 of government money, or of taxpayer money, right? Can just pissed away on advertising for the sales tax referendum there. So there's that. But there was some machines that just wouldn't work this morning for a couple of hours. I'm hearing 40 minutes to 2 hours. These machines were down. They wanted to extend the voting hours, like I said, to 9 o'clock. But that motion was originally filed for the issues that stopped voting systems. Now, I've heard multiple things. I heard they were just out of network. I heard that there was power outages. Seems abnormal to me, right? So they were working for approximately like 2 hours this morning, but then they weren't working for approximately 2 hours this morning, but they started, like, they opened the polls, and it wasn't like, oh, the machines won't start up. They failed like later in that morning. So it wasn't like, oh, they just wouldn't start up. They had been going for a little bit, and then they stopped working for approximately 2 hours. So I got to take a quick break, but we're going to talk more about Champaign County. There was another incident, abnormality in Cook County. We're going to get to that as well. You're listening to Conservative Cat. This is our 2024 election show. You can always text me, 309-451-9299. Did you run into any hiccups when you went to go vote today? Let me know on the text line. And as always, you can interact with me on YouTube. We're streaming live. We're also on Rumble and on Facebook. We're going to be right back with hopefully results. But there was another issue. Like I said, the Chicago Board of Elections Public Information Officer, he confirmed that technical issues were impacting voters in the 12th precinct, whose designated polling place was Ogden Elementary. Okay, so they were having an issue with their e-poll books. So I don't know exactly what an e-poll book is, but they were having issues. Voters were directed to the nearest vote center if they could not stay in line and wait for those e-poll books to come back online, or come back and turn back on. So we're going to be right back talking more about the 2024 election. Hey, good morning. Smash that like button. We're going to be talking more about what happened in Champaign County. We're also going to be talking a little bit about what happened in Chicago, the Chicago Board of Elections, what was going on there that impacted voters. And then we're going to talk about what is going on this election cycle. What is on your ballot? There are 3 statewide referenda. I want to talk about one specifically because this is very deceptive, deceitful wording in a referendum, and it has to deal with reproductive health. You might have seen it today if you went to go vote. Throw it in the comment section if you actually went to go vote today. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about just the shenanigans that have gone on since all of 2024. We're going to be right back. I'm going to go check and see if there's results. Smash that like button. I just don't understand why people don't trust the system. So sorry, I lost the audio for the streamers, but we're back on YouTube. They say, oh, people just don't trust the system. I don't understand why people don't trust the system. Well, here's the thing. There are plenty of headlines that I can share with you where the Champaign taxpayers, they have found out that they were using public funds to advocate for a sales tax hike referendum in Champaign County. There's some pretty pressing questions on the Champaign County ballot. Is that why we saw the machine shut down? I don't know. This is a very contentious election for Champaign County because of those two questions. Of course, removing the county auditor, and then the other question: do you want to see your sales tax hiked by 0.25%? So here's that headline. It's a shenanigan, obviously. You've got a Champaign taxpayer filing a formal official complaint with the Illinois State Board of Elections claiming election interference by a county official. John Benbenek, he is a Champaign County resident. They spent at least $62,000 of taxpayer funds advertising this sales tax hike. Now, I brought up Julia Reitz earlier in the show, the Champaign County State's attorney. She had gotten out and publicly said, okay, we're not going to extend the voting hours today to 9 o'clock because earlier in the day we saw the machines just not working for at least a couple of hours. I've been hearing, 40 minutes to a couple of hours when those machines went down early this morning, right when the polls kind of opened up. So the Champaign County State's attorney, her argument for, advertising, and she says, oh, it's completely legal as long as the words aren't in your advertisements. They spent money on radio, television, billboards. As long as the words vote for or against aren't used, it's okay. But here's the thing. State law prohibits the expenditure of public funds to advocate votes for. It doesn't necessarily mean like you have to explicitly say, hey, vote for this. It just means if you advocate votes for or against a referendum, and you have to use the public funds to disseminate factual data. So I've got to take a quick break, but we'll run through some more headlines, election shenanigans happening through this 2024 election cycle in Illinois, and then I'm going to have more results for you on the other side. You're listening to the Live Election Show on Cities 92.9. Woohoo! Hey, good evening. It's the 2024 live election show. We're providing you results in real time, brought to you by Couples Construction, New York Public Adjusting, and Tax and Accounting Plus. I did want to get to this. The results, it's all very preliminary right now. I am not understanding what's going on in the McLean County election psych. It says that 0 precincts are out of 81 are reporting. Obviously, that's not true because some of these have come in. So I don't know how many precincts have been are reporting right now, but we're just getting some preliminary results right now because, again, there's 2 election authorities in BEC, the Bloomington Election Commission. They have nothing. They've got nothing for nobody. So they haven't counted anything as of right now. So I did take a look at the county auditor. So on your ballot, there was a question asking you if you wanted to eliminate the office of county auditor, and that's looking good. A lot of you voted no on that. That's awesome. 10,840 votes total. So this is really early. Obviously, 10,000 votes total. I think way more than 10,000 people voted in this election cycle. So we're just dealing with really, really small numbers right now. So about 10,000 people voted no to that. And then about 8,860 voted yes to eliminate the office of the county auditor. I've been telling you folks here on this program for several weeks now that, hey, the county auditor, their job is to ensure that people are spending the money correctly and spending your dollars in a responsible manner. And I told you that the League of Women Voters, this is a left-wing nonprofit organization that has been pushing this not only in McLean County, but it's a coordinated effort to get rid of all county auditors in the state of Illinois. They did this via legislation. They tried to shrink the number of county auditors throughout the state. And then also the League of Women Voters that go after the Champaign county auditor, the Peoria county auditor a couple of elections ago, about 2022, I think that election, they got rid of their Peoria county auditor. So this is a coordinated attack, obviously. Now you probably want to know about Donald Trump. Okay, so I've got some Fox News presidential election results. We're looking at Indiana has been called for Trump. Missouri was called for Trump. Oklahoma. We've got Arkansas. We've got Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Florida, South Carolina. Now, Illinois called for Harris. Now, he did surprisingly well, I will say, in Illinois. According to this Fox News tally here, he got 40% of the vote. I think that's great for a Republican in Illinois. She obviously has the stronghold here in Illinois, 58% of the votes. He was close. He was very close. to beating to Harris, being that this is a deep blue state. She's also got Vermont, Massachusetts, what else? New Jersey. She's got Maryland. The East Coast. So their Maine might go towards her, but it's just leaning blue right now. They haven't officially called it. Fox News. Pennsylvania, interesting. I don't know. They haven't called that for anybody, but he's not performing well there right now. We're got about 70-30, Trump 30. But like I said, that's not. They haven't called it yet, so we're just providing you preliminary results right now. I'd be shocked if he does not win Pennsylvania. I would be shocked. At least a close margin there. But there's been all kinds of crazy things going on today. A lot of nefarious things across the nation. You're looking at, oh gosh, what was it? In Wisconsin, Milwaukee, they announced that they're going to recount 40,000 absentee ballots. What? Due to an issue where a tabulator was not sealed. So they're going to recount those at the end of the night. So all of a sudden, you're going to see an influx of 40,000 votes, or, some going towards Kamala Harris, some going towards Donald Trump. You're going to see an influx at the very end because they've counted these absentee ballots in Milwaukee. Also in Michigan, you've got, a Chinese national non-citizen. They just said that his vote is going to count. The courts ruled. They said his vote's going to count, which is wild to me. Republicans have continued to voice election security concerns. We're looking at some results here in McLean County. I want to provide you the most accurate ones, but we don't have anything from the BEC. They're always late. I'm telling you, the Bloomington Election Authority. I mean, we're 40 minutes after the polls close. You'd think that they'd have a little something, right? But nothing from the Bloomington Election Authority, but Election Commission. So let me look here. Wow. I thought Dennis Tipsword had this. I don't know. This is oh no, he does. He's got it 2,400, but that was too close for comfort. You got Morgan Phillips, the Democrat, coming in pretty close. So he had 51% of the vote. As of right now, this might change. Dennis Tipsword in the 105th district. I didn't even have that on my bingo card, folks. I didn't think we'd have to watch that. That's deep red district. It was drawn for a Republican in the 105th district. So he's got 51% of the vote right now, and she's got 48% of the vote, the Democrat, challenging Dennis Tipsword there. Now, Desi Anderson, we're looking at her race, the 91st State House District. Sharon Chung is, of course, the incumbent, and we're looking here. She's got 64% of the vote, Sharon Chung does, and Desi Anderson has 35% of the vote. Then let's go on up to Dave Kaler's race. He's the incumbent. He's got about the same as Sharon Chung there. He's got some more votes than Sharon Chung, slightly more, just a few more votes. He's got 6,988 votes, and then Sally Owens has 3,816 votes. All right, folks, we've got so much going on. I know you guys are really curious about the Burke race. Like I said, he's got about 1,900 votes. He's challenging incumbent Elizabeth Johnson. 2,800 votes is what she's got. So right now it's 40-59 going towards the Democrat. Now there's two. You can elect two there. Randy Knapp is the other incumbent in the 5th district for the county board, McLean County Board. You've got Randy Knapp. He's got 2,059 votes. Then you got Buck Farley, 2,600 votes. So another one that I've talked about a lot is this Jim Rogel. Jim Rogel, Jerry Klinkner, Jerry Klinkner had nothing in his war chest, right? I went on IllinoisSunshine.org. We exposed that there was dark money group contributing funds, of course, to Jim Rogel. And this dark money group has ties, of course, to George Soros and Governor J.B. Pritzker, and they funneled money into his campaign. All of that money, $10,000 plus some, then some. So on hand, I think he ended with like near $28,000 cash on hand. Meanwhile, you got Jerry Klinkner, who maybe made 500. I doubt it. And he's I think that 60-40 right now is where we're at, and we're still waiting on the BEC for Jerry Klinkner here. No wonder they invested so much money into that race. So let's take another look at our federal elections. I want to take a look at Donald Trump right now. You need 270 for the win, electoral votes. Right now, Donald Trump has got 111. Kamala Harris has got 72. Has got 72. So we'll have to see. You need 270 to win. 270 to win. I know they're gonna play some games in Pennsylvania. I know they're gonna do this. They're gonna play some games in Pennsylvania. I have a feeling Michigan looks like it's leaning Democrat. Wisconsin, there's nothing yet, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right. I do want to talk before. Well, I gotta take a quick break, but when we come back, I do want to talk about what has been going on. What kind of shenanigans have been going on this election cycle? I read a couple of headlines for you. Obviously, they took $62,000 of public funds, so that's taxpayers' money, and they advocated for a sales tax hike in Champaign County. So there's a couple of referenda in Champaign County, that's our neighboring county, and they're trying to eliminate the county auditor's position. They're also trying to hike taxes, sales tax. On the county or Champaign County residents there. And the government, the Champaign County government, spent your money, the taxpayers' money, to advocate for this sales tax hike, which is just so funny. Plus, voter confidence was rattled. I provided you information about voting machines across Illinois leading up to the election malfunctioning right here in McLean County, also in Schaumburg, Illinois. There was another headline, the ballot referendums. We're seeing this as a form of retaliation against county auditors in the states or in the state of Illinois. You look at incumbent Democrat George Danos. They say, oh, it's because his performance is so bad. We got to get him out of there. It's wasteful spending. It's kind of interesting that he brought up the fact that, hey, $2.1 million was lost because these idiots didn't put money into an interest-bearing account. And after he pointed that out, they passed this referendum to eliminate the county auditor. All right, we're going to be back with hopefully more results. You're listening to the 2024 Election Live Show. Woohoo! Hey, good evening. It's Conservative Cat, and this is the 2024 live election show. We're looking at precincts counting. It still says 0. So I don't know if this just means like no full precinct has actually like counted all of their ballots yet, but we don't have anything from the Bloomington Election Commission right now. We're just dealing with some really, really small vote totals. But as of right now, it looks like this county auditor question is doing pretty well where you guys voted no. So I'm looking at this, the numbers here. Let me make sure. Sorry, we're doing it in real time, folks, and I'm just looking for my county auditor question here. Here it is. Auditor McLean County, well, that's her position. And like I said, with the county auditor, eliminate the office of county auditor. You don't want to do that. That is going to destroy government transparency and accountability. Here we go. 10,840 voting no so far, and then 8,865 voting yes. So we're dealing with a lot of small numbers right now. We've got Dave Kaler, Sharon Chung. They're up. It's about, like, I'd say 70-30 right now. So Sharon Chung is 64% of the vote, 35% of the vote going to Desi Anderson in the 91st State House District. This was shocking to me. The 105th State House District, did not realize that was up for grabs. I was sleeping on it. I did not realize Morgan Phillips was running as the Democrat challenger here against Dennis Tipsworth. This is a Republican drawn. This just goes to show you these Republican drawn districts are not safe. Okay. They got a Morgan Phillips to run against Dennis Tipsworth, who I wouldn't say is the strongest candidate. But dang, I did not think it was going to be this close. 51, but that's still early, folks. 51% of the vote is what he's got, and 48% of the vote is what she's got. That would be shocking if that goes towards Morgan Phillips there. That would shock me. There's also, Mike O'Neill. He's in County Board District 2. He's running up against Raul Martinez. Raul Martinez is the Democrat there. Looks like Mike O'Neill's doing well. He's got the about 1,700, so 63% of the vote there. And then you've got Raul Martinez with about 1,000 votes, 36% of the vote. So we're looking good in District 2 so far. Like I said, very, very early. Brian Loeffler, he's looking good, 1,300 votes, over 1,300 votes. And then you've got Rob Ogborn, who's the Democrat. And that's 61% of the vote is going towards the Republican. 38% of the vote is going towards the Democrat in the District 3. That's District 3, Brian Loeffler as the Republican there. Now you've got District 4. This was an interesting race. I've highlighted this one because Jim Rogel spent so much money. He had like $28,000 on hand. It was kind of ridiculous how much money this guy was spending. And Jerry Klinkner, nowhere near that. Nowhere near $28,000. And not to mention, Jim Rogel had a lot of dark money in his campaign. The Local Jobs and Economic Development Fund, which receives grants from the Tides Foundation, which is really odd that you got George Soros billionaires kind of backing local candidates. And it raises some eyebrows, right? But he's doing pretty well, Jerry Klinkner, in there. I would say he's doing very well, considering that Jim Rogel had $10,000, donated from George Soros into his campaign coffers. You've got Jerry Klinkner with 40% of the vote so far, and then 62% of the vote going to Jim Rogel. And I think if not running like, ad after ad after ad after ad, or sending out all these mailers, right? I think that's something to be applauded. Now you got Randy Knapp, and this is a really close race. It's pretty tight. Randy Knapp and Buck Farley. Buck Farley's got 2,600 votes, and Randy Knapp about 2,000. So 56% of the vote going to Buck Farley so far. 43% of the vote going to Randy Knapp. Like I said, these could change as soon as we get the Bloomington election results or commission results, but we'll have to see. Nothing yet. Let's check in with our federal race with Donald Trump. Fox News calls Arkansas. Fox News calls Illinois for Kamala Harris. We don't have Pennsylvania yet. We don't have Georgia yet. But it looks like that's leaning red. Georgia looks like it's leaning red. And then you've got North Carolina. Looks like that's leaning red as well. Folks, all he's got to get is Pennsylvania. If he gets Pennsylvania, I think we're good. 270 for the win. And let me make sure I'm providing you the most up-to-date information. Yes, 111 electoral votes is what Donald Trump has, and 72 electoral votes for Kamala Harris. Now, I want to talk about this a little bit. We're going to take a break from the results, and we're going to start talking about this really bizarre thing Kamala Harris did. 72 electoral votes Kamala Harris did today. She did a fake phone call. Yeah, I don't know. She pretended to have this phone call. It's the most bizarre thing about Kamala Harris. She lies about unnecessary things, much like her running mate. I say this all the time. Why does Tim Walz lie so much and about such weird things like his wife having IVF or him serving in combat? So she is just very inauthentic, and she couldn't be more scripted if she tried. That's why she did this weird pretend phone call. And what's really funny is she accidentally shows the crowd like the her phone. She holds up her phone, and then the camera is on. So that means she couldn't have been on a phone call. Okay, she lifts up her phone, and then the camera is on. It looks like an iPhone. I don't believe you can run the camera at the same time you're on a phone call. I'm not too sure about that. I have an Android. But she had the camera app open, and she says that she was on a phone call, but she wasn't. And of course, the trained SEALs, they all clapped for her like the idiots they were, as if she did something impressive, like, make a fake phone call. Let's take a listen to the tape here. This is what she did today. She had a fake phone call, as if that's going to win over swing voters.
You did? Thank you. Thank you so very much. It's so important that everybody participates.
So ridiculous, folks. I just can't believe that even happened. When we come back, we're going to be diving into this, of course, and then at the top of the hour, we should have some more results, obviously. Looks like these changed a little bit. Okay, yeah, with 2% with 2 precincts out of the 13 precincts reporting, we've got Chad Burke coming in with 2,100 and Elizabeth Johnson coming in with 3,000. I'm looking at this, of course, District 5 very closely. That's a hot race. Then you've got Randy Knapp. He's got 2,300. And then you've got Buck Farley with 2,900. We're looking at the McLean County District 5 race. There's so much here, so much. So we've got Mike O'Neill. He's looking really good in this race. It's the District 1 for the McLean County Board. or no, not District 1, District 2. District 2. In District 1, there is no challenger to Adam Reeves. He's the Republican who ran there, and he's obviously got 100% of the vote. Now in District 2, you look at Mike O'Neill. He's got 64% of the vote, and Raul Martinez has 35% of the vote. Brian Loeffler doing very well, 61% of the vote. And then you've got Rob Ogborn, who's got 38% of the vote. We do have more precincts reporting. Let me check out Desi Anderson and Dave Kaler. Okay, 91st State House District. We've got 4,000 votes. Some more votes coming in for Desi Anderson. She's got 36% of the vote, and then Sharon Chung has 64% of the vote. And then you're looking at, let's take a look at Dave Kaler and Sally Owens. Dave Kaler, 7,200 votes total, and then we've got Sally Owens about 4,000 votes total. So he's got 64% of the vote, and she's got 35% of the vote. So we had more come in. Now we're still waiting for the Bloomington Election Authority, the Election Commission. Nothing. God, I can't stand these two authorities. It just bothers me so much. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to be chatting more about that. But I do want to also talk about some things that have gone on today, obviously in Champaign County. Aaron Amons, he had requested the state attorney extend the voting hours to make up for the time that the voting systems were not functioning earlier this morning. We know that that happened in Champaign County. However, they did not extend the time, and they did close those polls at 7 o'clock. So Chad Burke will be joining me here in the 8 o'clock hour as well. We're going to give him a second to pop on, and then we'll add him to the call. It's all very early still. We're still waiting. Chad is kind of neck and neck with her, I'd say. Pretty dang close to Lizzie Johnson. Randy Knapp is even closer to Buck Farley. And the big win here, folks, is that we are going to likely get this struck down to eliminate the county auditor position, which I'm very excited about. So big round of applause so far to Jerry Klinkner. He's still in it, folks. I mean, it's 60-40 right now, but I think he's still in this. And being that Jim Rogel had all of that money contributed to him from big names like George Soros, that's impressive to me. Smash that like button, share this out with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. This isn't made possible without you subscribing and without you visiting our advertisers like the friends who provided you the show today. Couples Construction in York, Public Adjusting, and Tax and Accounting. Plus, they're tonight's sponsors. Let's check in with our Fox News. We've got some updates. It looks like he's got 178 electoral votes, and Kamala Harris has 113. They called some more states for her, obviously. They called New York for her, Fox News did. And then you've got Donald Trump winning the Dakotas, Donald Trump winning Nebraska. Then you've got Donald Trump winning Texas, winning Florida. She won Colorado, saw that coming. She won Illinois, we saw that coming. Maryland going to Kamala Harris, so she's got 113, he's got 178. Like I said, Pennsylvania is going to be very, very interesting. Right now, Fox News has got it leaning towards Harris, 60-30, but that could just be because they're counting up these blue cities first, and then the rural counties will be counted in Pennsylvania, the Amish vote, right? Let's hope for that. The Amish hopefully turn out for Donald Trump. Let's see if we can add Chad Burke to the stream. Chad, you there? I hear you.
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. We are going to be coming over the air here in just a minute. So if you just want to hang tight, I wanted to check and make sure we got your audio. We'll be right with you, okay?
All right.
All right, folks. Smash that like button. Share this out with your friends. Subscribe to the channel. I don't know how you get out to the polling place, get into the ballot booth, and then you're like, yes, I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris. Every time I hear this woman speak, I need a Tums. I start to get heartburn. My stomach starts to churn a little bit, and I need a Tums. This woman just puts me on edge. Right now, I think Trump just needs to beat voter fraud. He already beat Kamala Harris. He beat Kamala Harris before she even started. Okay, come on, folks. She didn't even run in a primary. Right now, Donald Trump is up against election fraud. Okay, that's what Donald Trump is up against. So go ahead, smash that like button. We're going to be back talking about some crazy things that happened in Cook County as well. I talked about Champaign County, how those voting machines went down for a couple of hours. They even talked about extending the voting hours. We're spending more money than we ever have on elections, and they're still crap. I just don't get it. You spend more money on elections. They're becoming less transparent now in the state of Illinois. You don't even have the name of your election judge, which is just wild to me. Now, this happened in Champaign County. This happened in, Sangamon County. I want to be clear here. No, Sangamon County. No, this was, it was Champaign County. A couple of college students going in and voting, and his name is Zenab Mem, and he was talking to some reporters. He's a sophomore in engineering, and he goes to the front of the line, and he woke up at 5 a.m. and he got there to try to get in line early because he had classes and things like that and needed to get things done. And guess what? The lines were long, the machines shut down. And of course, he was trying to vote and he had to wait forever. And when he was asked by reporters for comment, he just said, "I'm tired. I'm tired." I get it. Another case, a graduate student studying computer science had been in line since 5:50 a.m. and remained in that spot until the polls opened, and then couldn't vote because the voting machines went down in Champaign County. So polling station workers, they had to implement a manual process to register voters. Champaign County Clerk Aaron Amons, like I said, he wanted to extend the voting, but they didn't wind up doing that. So, some crazy things going on in Chicago as well. At the Ogden Elementary polling place, apparently their e-poll books, they were having an issue with those, but it only affected the 12th precinct there. And voters were directed to go to their nearest voting center if they could not stay at that location at the Ogden Elementary polling place. So we're back. It's Conservative Cat on the 2024 election show. Woohoo! Hey, I'm going to provide you a quick update on the presidential election. 178 electoral votes for Donald Trump. Kamala Harris has 113. You need 270 to win. Okay, so it looks like we've got some more votes coming in. We do have Lizzie Johnson. She's beating Chad Burke right now, but it's still early. She's got 58% of the vote. Meanwhile, Chad has 41% of the vote. We're taking a close look at these races here in District 5 of the McLean County Board. You had to vote for two of them. Randy Knapp, he's got 2,300, and then you've got Buck Farley, 2,900. So 55% of the vote going to Buck Farley so far, 44 are going to Randy Knapp. Like I said, very preliminary. This is County Board District 5. Joining me on the program, you know him, you love him. His name is Chad Burke. Chad, welcome to the program. How are you?
Good, Kat. How are you?
Good. All right. So obviously it's really early. We're not calling anything as of yet, right? So right now it says that we've got 50% of the precincts reporting. So, I mean, you could still have this big jump. Now, I do want to ask you this question because I find this interesting when, people are told, hey, pick two. But then you see this. Randy Knapp obviously has this advantage of being the incumbent, name recognition, he's got 2,300 votes, whereas you have about 2,100 votes. Okay,
Right.
so these are, estimates, not, or like approximates, not the official totals. But what do you think about that? Is it hard to get people to say, hey, vote two, vote two? What is that?
Well, it happened in a primary too. There was a little bit of difference between Randy and I think it is just either they don't realize they can pick two, or maybe it is the incumbent thing, or maybe they know my views are a little bit different than Randy. Could be one or all of the three. Hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully as the night goes on and the numbers come in, I'll inch up. We'll see.
Hey, I think
See what
that
happens.
you, however it turns out, one thing that I can say about your campaign and about Donald Trump's campaign, however it turns out, is you guys are both men of God, first and foremost, and you always kept that at the center of your campaign, which is so, so important. Number two, you worked hard. You
I
can't
tried.
come out of this and you can't say
Yeah.
that you didn't work hard. So I did want to ask you, what are the issues that District 5 voters were telling you really mattered to them this election cycle? What's affecting District 5 specifically in McLean County?
Everywhere I went, the biggest issue was taxes. They're tired of every year. It's one tax or another. I know a lot of people lump what happens at normal and the state into everything, the county. But they're tired of expenses going up, inflation going up, and taxes. Uh, that's the number one issue. Second is the increase in the crime. I hear this is what I hear the most. 20 years ago, we did not have these issues. We did not have shootings in Bloomington Normal every other weekend. Those are almost direct quotes. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I hear that second. And then after that, it's the roads are horrible, which that's not a county mostly. It's Bloomington Normal roads, but those are the things I hear. Infrastructure is horrendous. It's been ignored. Why are they fixing the roof on a library, which they're referring to the historical museum, when we've got potholes that I drive to work on every day? Or why are we always seeing the water mains bursting and nothing's being done about it, and things like this? And those are the things that concern, I think, the average citizen the most.
And it's really interesting, and I think this is in District 5, that like so-called pop-up party that happened where sadly somebody lost their life, Chad. That's insane.
It is.
And I know you ran really hard on crime because it happened to you in your district. A habitual stabber came into your yard and stabbed you 19 times, something crazy like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
And what's really tragic is that, not enough people, I don't think, do their research on these candidates. They just say, oh, Lizzie Johnson, I recognize that name. She's our current county board member. And could she be that bad? I think there's this disconnect with voters where they don't connect. Hey, my life sucks and there's crime, there's people getting shot, and they don't connect those issues with who's in office, which is really tragic because, I will never forget. And I obviously this was the first election where I didn't vote in McLean County. From the time I could vote all the way until just this past year, I'd vote in McLean County. I'd run to the polls to vote for you.
Thank you.
Walk over broken glass, because I will never forget Lizzie Johnson. And I mean, she just made you relive this when you had filed for that appointment, because of course John McIntyre stepped out of his role, and you have to fill that spot with a Republican. You put in an application, and they have to, of course, give you questions, and you have to field questions from the board. And then she asked you, hey, what's this? What's this? Made you relive this event where you were stabbed before the county board in front of everybody. How disrespectful. How disrespectful. She could have emailed, right?
Oh, yeah. I never got one question from anybody about it, and they're the county. They could have asked the sheriff to look it up. They could have went to the judges and talked about it. They're the county. They could have requested anything. They could have called me. I would have gladly went over it with them.
Yeah, but it was all for the headline.
Oh, yeah, it was a hit piece. She wanted something else, and it didn't happen.
She was hoping you'd fumble when answering the question.
Yeah. She wanted me to fail. Unfortunately for her, I had been ready. I expected it. Who wouldn't from that side attack that?
I want to really quick jump in quickly here, just because we're getting some live election results, and I want to jump in just right before we take the break, but I hope you can stay on with us, chat, a little bit longer. You did so well in Bloomington. In fact, beating Lizzie Johnson in Bloomington. So the Bloomington Election Commission has you at 74 votes so far. Then Lizzie's 68 votes. So you've got 52% of the vote in the Bloomington Election Commission right now. We've got to add those to the McLean County totals. I'll do that through the break here. But some results are coming in through the Bloomington Election Commission. They're always later. But Jerry Klinkner, I'm going to get your take on this. Guys, hauling ass.
That guy has busted. Jerry and Desi, but Jerry has moved. I think we talked about him in the office the other day at the GOP headquarters. He has hit over 1,500 houses, if not physically, on the phones. That guy has every day. I think he had a cot in the back of the headquarters. He is motivated. He is motivated. He has a mission. I learned something the other day about him. He was an MP in Vietnam. You would not know that to meet that man. He is the most humble, nicest man I've ever met. So nice. He would put his own self on the ground and let you walk over him if there was a mud on the ground. But he shared that with me the other day. We were working together just because we were talking about something, and I was shocked, not because I doubted his masculinity or anything, but I'm
shocked that he
has busted out, and I'm not surprised that he is kicking butt, and I am so happy. The spirit has prevailed. If he doesn't upset tonight, that's worth it right there.
Now I'm going to do this for everybody, but because we're talking about Jerry, I just did it really quickly. It's still, I don't know, but it's still early. It's still early. Like I said,
it's still early.
Here's Jerry Klinkner and Jim Rogel. Like I said, Jim Rogel, $28,000 on hand. I don't even know how much Jerry had.
Dark money.
Dark money. We're looking at the vote percentages here. We've got Jim Rogel, 58% of the vote, and then we've got Jerry Klinkner with 41% of the vote. But this is changing. So I've got to take a quick break, but Chad, stay on with me. We're going to be on the live stream, folks. You get more show that way. Go to the YouTube stream. Go to Rumble. We're going to be right back. You're listening to Conservative Cat. This is our 2024 a live election show. Okay. Say that 10 times fast. Live
election show.
Live election show. So we've got a couple of minutes here. I'm going to total up some of our votes here. But Chad, I did want to ask you, what was the hardest thing when campaigning? What was the hardest thing you encountered? Did you talk with Democrats at all on the campaign trail, and did they give you pushback at all?
The hardest thing for me was canvassing. It's hard for me mentally to go out. I have it me with like PTSD and things.
Mhm.
To go and knock on a door, it's very difficult.
Mhm.
Once I encounter the person, I'm fine. It's just that initial knocking. I love doing it once I start talking to the person. It's great. I love the citizens and the people. But I did encounter one. I had one encounter that was really interesting. I won't give out the address or anything like that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, the gentleman came out of the door, front porch. I stepped off onto the sidewalk like I always do. And we were actually having a nice discussion. I was telling him my views, about communities, things, and taxes. And he started with the we and you and Trump. And I had not mentioned any of those, Trump or nothing. I always keep it just my views and not. I hadn't mentioned Republican Party or anything because I like to just keep it about me and keep it human and personal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I noticed that his body language, I watch body language very closely, and he was breathing a little heavier. So the adrenaline had kicked in on him, and he fisted up, like a rooster a little bit, kind of chested up. And I was kind of getting a little worried that it had escalated a little bit because he started lecturing me about how we, meaning them, were going to, when they got into control and power, were going to take the money from the wealthy and distribute it. And I said, well, that's great, but that's theft. If we came into your home and took everything because you could be wealthy to someone of less. And he said, oh, Dad, no. That's what you always say, you. And he became irate.
Real quick, Jed, we're hopping
Yeah.
back onto the radio, but we'll be right back. Just keep it right here. It's the live election show. Smash that like button. Woohoo! Hey, good evening. It's the 2024 live election show. Couple hours, 7 to 9. We will be providing you reports as these vote totals come in throughout the night. So you can stay tuned. We're going to be broadcasting Fox News, and they'll provide you the latest presidential election results. Obviously, right now, Donald Trump 195. He needs 270 to win, and then Kamala Harris 113. Looking at the states here, still no Pennsylvania, still no Wisconsin, Michigan, none of the swing states really. North Carolina is leaning Republican. We'll have to see about Georgia as well, leaning Republican, but very close races for Donald and Kamala. But we have Chad Burke, who's joining me here on the line. We got some more vote totals. I'm going to ramble some off here just with your race here, Chad. So we've got, you've got 21% of the vote. Because remember, this is 4 people. So out of these 4 people who are running, there's 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. 2 will be selected to serve on the McLean County Board. So right now, looks like the 2 Democrats, but like I said, very, very early, the BEC just came in with some of their votes. And just to put this into perspective for you, there's not just 74 people in Bloomington. Okay, so you've got from the Bloomington Election Commission 74 votes from the Bloomington Election Commission. There's not 74 people who voted in Bloomington today. There's way more. So this is very, very early. But you've got 21% of the vote. You've got Randy Knapp, 20% of the votes. So you're beating Randy Knapp actually right now.
Oh, wow. That's
these
surprising.
preliminary results. Preliminary. Cannot stress that enough. I don't want people being like, oh, Randy Knapp lost. No. And then we've got Buck Farley, 28% of the vote, and then 29% of the vote going to Lizzie Johnson. helps, I definitely think, with the incumbents, Randy Knapp. But you're pulling ahead of Randy Knapp right now. See how this changes, and it just kind of depends on the area. You know, you got the Bloomington Election Commission, and then the McLean County Election Authority. And typically, the way these things go, the blue inner cities, the blue areas, they get counted first, and then they, get the rule votes, last. So that's typically how it works. I hope that's how that kind of works. And then you'll see a pretty big jump for Republicans here towards the end of the night. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see because they do count all the mail-in ballots, in the beginning. They're supposed to anyway. So those typically go Democrat as well. So I think you're over the hump here. So all very close. All very close.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, before we took the break, we were talking about, tough things that you saw on the campaign trail. It's obviously hard to get Democrats to be on your side. Now, one thing I wanted to talk with you about is Unit 5 is obviously, I believe, in your district, right? Is it in District 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it probably includes multiple districts in McLean County for the McLean County Board because how big Unit 5 schools are.
Unit 5 is all the way around Bloomington. So it circles. Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to talk about these kids. The Illinois report card obviously just dropped. And,
Right.
I feel like that's something that a lot of voters, at least we're talking with me about, hey, the kids, they're not doing well in school. What do we do about that? So your thoughts on the recent release of the Illinois report card?
Well, typical what is preached in other states, they just don't say it here in Illinois. What Marx and all the others say is if you have someone that excels, bring them down and lower the standards, and everybody's excelling. They took the old ISBE, I believe is what it was, Illinois State Board of Education testing standard, got rid of it using COVID as the excuse, brought in a new testing standard and said, oh, wow, we're doing great. Look at that, guys. And then they compared it to the 2017 or 18, where they were failing for years. Wow. And they name it these fluffy, furry, little wonderful, hey, look, these kids can read. But if you went in there and I took a percentage of them, they would not be if I compared them to national standards. I guarantee they would not be up to standard.
Yeah. Well,
so it's a joke. It's a joke what they're doing with and the money that they're putting for. I think it's like $13,000-$14,000 per student compared to a private school that's putting a third, 2/3 that dollar amount, and those children are excelling post graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take my tax dollars and be able to go anywhere.
Well, and it's such an important election this cycle because I think people are realizing that their institutions fail them and that government services, I say it all of the time, public sector, whatever they do, we could do it 10 times better in the private sector, and we do.
And if they go to a private school and it doesn't, then it's going to go bankrupt. It's going to fail because they're going to leave it. We can't. They have a monopoly, which doesn't government break up monopolies? They Ma Bell went away, and look what happened. Now we have all these wonderful phone companies that have developed cell phones and technology. That before that, it was you had a phone stuck on a wall for 50 years.
Yeah.
And that's what we have now. We have children stuck in a classroom for how many years? You go to other countries, they're not. They're not stuck in classrooms. They're evolving into all these different programs.
Yeah.
We're stuck in classrooms because that's what the administration wants. It's easy to control kids that way.
Yeah. Keep them stuck and keep them in this, ritual of sitting in a desk.
They shepherd the children into sheep.
Yeah.
For society.
Yeah, indoctrinate them and everything. So I think that, I mean, it's not just the public education system, it's also our election system as well.
Yeah,
There is no
100%.
faith in the election system, and that's not the fault of the people, right? If you constantly have mistakes, flubs, and you're spending all of this money and you think that, hey, money means that it's going to be a good system and it's going to work, and then you have all of these, Champaign County, they were talking about extending the voting hours until 9 p.m. tonight. Champaign, the neighboring county.
Right.
And then, not to mention, you had mail in ballot flubs this election cycle, which we were talking about earlier in the show, where they sent out return addresses with the mail in ballots that were wrong. And a ballot, we know of one, went to Monroe County instead of
Monroe
McLean
County.
County. And, but it's not just that. It'd be one thing if it was a one off, but then you get the machines that shut
Yeah.
down 34
Yeah.
ballots stuffed into an emergency bin and to be counted after the polls close that day.
Right.
When you have things happen like that and you're spending so much money on our elections, we spend more now on our elections than we ever have. And it's still not working. So there's no faith in our institutions.
No,
And
no, and not to interrupt you, but why is it if you go to a country like Iraq, Afghanistan, Congo that gets to vote for the first time, they have to show ID, government issued ID, and they want to. They are proud to do it. They vote. They put their finger or hand or whatever in a purple ink, and they go around showing that off. They show that off, okay, because they voted. Sometimes, usually for the first time as adults, I voted. I made a difference. And why can't we do that? Because then you can't go into another precinct in Indiana or another county like it happens. I'm not going to say it happens here because I don't have proof, but you can't. You
yeah,
physically cannot because it
yeah.
does not come off. And like in California, I watched a video. A guy went in, he offered to show ID, and he said, they asked him, are you that person? He said, maybe, I might be. And they still could not ask him for ID to prove it. He said, I might be that person. Yeah, I am. No, maybe. They
Yeah.
let him go, because he was proving a point.
Yeah, and then you've got people like just overtly Chinese nationals. They were voting in Michigan. This guy, he voted, and then the court said, "Yeah, we're just gonna keep his vote and we're gonna count
Keep
it."
his vote. Yeah, I think, what was it,
Wild.
12,000 of them or something in one state? They pushed him through.
Just keep the votes. They're
Keep
not
them.
citizens, but let's just keep them anyway.
Why not? Constitution doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, the law doesn't mean anything. It's a
It's
law.
okay.
Well,
Whatever.
Chad Burke, we're going to cut to break, but I so do appreciate you coming on. We're going to wrap up the show. We've only got about
Thank
30
you.
minutes, and I want to dedicate that time to providing you all results. But Chad, thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Kat. I
listening.
appreciate everything.
I'm going to be calling your race if it gets closer here. I don't know how much longer this is they're trickling in now. So
Yeah.
I'll provide the results, but thank you so much, my friend. Godspeed to Chad Burke. Pray for Chad Burke, and we will be right back. It's Conservative Cat on Cities 92.9. Woo! Hey, good morning or good evening. Gosh, it's like second nature. Okay, to say good morning, you can tune into the morning show tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. But we're going here until 9 o'clock, and then I will be providing you reports with vote totals of our local races here, but I want to give you the most accurate information as possible that I've got right now. Okay, so I'm looking at Susan Schaefer. This is shocking to me. She's the incumbent here, and she's got Sean Fagan running against her. He's the Democrat challenger, and he's beating her so far. So 55% of the vote going to Fagan, Sean Fagan, and 44% of the vote going to Susan Schaefer. You've also got Gary Stevens and Eric Hansen. These two in District 8 for the McLean County Board. You've got 69% of the vote going to the Democrat, 30% of the vote going to Gary Stevens, the Republican in District 8. David Dunn and Val Lehman. So they're just in Bloomington. I think that their district is just in Bloomington. They're not listed on the McLean County Election Authority's site or results page. And folks, we have two election authorities, so you've got to combine the totals. But it looks like the District 7, I think that's just all in Bloomington, which is why there is no District 7 on the McLean County Election Authority's results page. But David Dunn, he's close, 2,200 and 2,700 for Val Lehman. Val Lehman is the incumbent. To unseat a Democrat incumbent, that would be huge. There's so many results here that I want to get to. Jerry Klinkner, I'm proud of him. I really am. I think that this is the race of the night. The fact that this guy is going up against a guy with $28,000 cash on hand, and he's still kind of like in this race. I wouldn't call it just yet. But I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't make it across the finish line, but dang, this is good. 40% of the vote for Jerry Klinkner in District 4. Then you've got 59% of the vote for Jim Rogel. Boo, dark money, George Soros funded candidate. Mike O'Neill. Congratulations, Mike O'Neill. Wow. 65% of the vote, 34% of the vote for Raul Martinez. So far, Brian Loeffler, good, congratulations. 60% of the vote, 39% of the vote for Rob Ogborn in District 3. We're looking at our McLean County Board. Now, I do want to take a look at our state house races. Now, the Bloomington Election Commission for Dave Kaler, I want to get to this one, has got him with 6,000 votes, 6,100 votes about, and then Sally Owens, she's got 3,400 votes about for the Bloomington Election Commission. Now, I haven't tallied these up yet, but I want to I want to tally those up and get you the accurate percentages. But for sure, Dave Kaler, I mean, it's like 60-40 with Dave Kaler and Sally Owens to the incumbent. Now let's look at Sharon Chung and Desi Anderson. A lot of people love Desi Anderson, but I don't know if she'll make it across the finish line, folks. I don't know yet. Clearly, these are very, very preliminary results. We've got, what is it? Let me refresh here. The Bloomington Election Commission, they're saying like 0% or 0 precincts reporting out of the 60. So here's what I realize now. The reason why it says 0 and we've still got some vote totals here, it's the mail-in ballots. I'm pretty sure that's why I'm seeing 0 precincts reporting. It's the mail-in ballots that have come in. So there's still some wiggle room. There's still some wiggle room here for the 91st State House District, especially considering these guys are neck and neck. I just can't believe this. Morgan Phillips, what? I didn't even see this coming. The 105th District, gosh, and I didn't even see Dennis. Did Dennis even campaign? I sure hope he did. But he's got a Democrat challenger, Dennis Tipsford, in the 105th District, and she's beating him in the Bloomington Election Commission. That's a tight race. I'll have to do the vote totals here on the other side. But Desi Anderson, her vote total is 3,500 for the BEC, 6,000 for Sharon Chung BEC, and then you're looking at The race here in McLean County, 5,000 for Desi Anderson, 9,000 for Sharon Chung in McLean County. So clearly, Desi Anderson is not winning so far, with 54% of the precincts reporting in McLean County for the McLean County Election Authority. Like I said, the worst is over, I would imagine, for the Bloomington Election Commission, because they count the mail-in ballots first. And I think that's why we're seeing 0 precincts reporting right now. It's because they do the mail-in ballots. So, yeah, this race is too close for comfort. Too close for comfort for Dennis Tipsword. Let me look at the McLean County. I'm sure he is outpacing her here in McLean County for the McLean County Election Authority. He is. So he's got 3,000 votes in McLean County, Dennis Tipsword. I'm going to do this in real time because I didn't even put him on. I've got a spreadsheet and I do this every year. And I didn't even bother putting Dennis Tipsword's district on there because I didn't think it was going to be that close. I'll have to get those totals to you because I'm going to have to do some hard math. But 3,000, I'm going to do some in my head. And then he's got 700 votes. Okay. And then she's got 700 votes for the BEC. Then she's got, 700 votes for the BEC. And then she's got 2,000. Okay, so he is still beating her slightly. Holy moly. Didn't even think about the 105th district. That is going to be, that's shocking. That's shocking. All right, I do have to take a quick break, but I'm going to be providing you more election results. Now, folks, this is very Illinois heavy, very McLean County elections heavy. It's local. I do want to check in with our presidential race. Fox News calling Ohio for President Donald Trump. And they called a few other states, looks like the Dakotas, Wyoming, they called, but we're still waiting. We're still waiting for Pennsylvania. We're still waiting for Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, North Carolina. Leaning red, that's North Carolina. Leaning red, that's Georgia. Leaning blue slightly is Pennsylvania, very slightly. Kamala Harris is leaning in both Michigan. He needs Pennsylvania, folks. We really need Pennsylvania. We don't have Arizona yet, so we'll have to see. Wow, this is an exciting election. I'm shocked. Things that I love about this election. Number one, I'm shocked. Well, not love. I guess I mean, I'm nerding out over the fact that the 105th district could be taken by a Democrat, which is just so tragic for McLean County. But then also, I'm proud of Jerry Klinkner that he is keeping up with the incumbent powerhouse Jim Rogel. And I love how close everything is looking. It tells me that the candidates fought hard. So I've got to take a quick break, but you're listening to our live election show on Cities 92.9. Living in the new world. Hey, it's Conservative Cat. And, maybe your candidate isn't doing so well. You're hearing these election results and you're just thinking to yourself, man, this sucks. That's what I'm saying to myself. Yeah, it does. But there's some wins. 100%. I think that Jerry Klinkner staying in this race for as long as he has is impressive. Going up against a George Soros powerhouse, right? The fact that you've got Chad Burke neck and neck with Lizzie Johnson this late into the night is very exciting. A couple of disappointing things. I did not realize the 105th district was in play. We've got Dennis Tipsword, 53% of the vote, and then the Democrat with 46% of the vote. That's too close for comfort for me. I didn't realize this red district was so close. Another win, I would say, eliminating the elected office of county auditor. Let me check in with that really quick. We've got 14,000 people saying, 15,000, near 15,000 people saying no, and then 12,265 people saying yes. So 54% of the vote goes to the no's, and that's very exciting. That means this is a big win. This is a big win for government transparency and accountability. I don't foresee too many crazy changes with that. Now, I do want to run through some of these vote totals here. We've got Susan Schaefer not looking good. She's the incumbent Republican, but folks, it is still early in the night. It is still really early in the night. Like I said, let me refresh the Bloomington Election Commission. They've got 0 precincts reporting. Don't know exactly what that means. I think that means that they've just gotten to the mail-in ballots at this point. That's what I believe is happening. It looks like these 3 statewide advisory, they're non-binding referenda, but it kind of sucks that they're all passing, and that's concerning. These non-binding referenda, of course, the first one being, should a candidate be held civilly liable for so-called intimidating an election worker? And then advisory number 2, should we tax the wealthy more, which we all know winds up being really bad for the middle class. And then the number 3, that was making abortion available, unlimited abortions via the taxpayer dollar, Medicaid, any kind of insurance plan. So if you're on Medicaid, you can get unlimited abortions at the taxpayer's expense. Looks like those are all passing definitely in the Bloomington Election Commission. Judge Joe McGraw, I haven't touched this race yet. I got the vote total so far, not looking good. I'm kind of shocked at this because this was originally supposed to be, again, a Republican district, and they threw Eric Swanson in there, not thinking much of it. The Democrats did. They thought Esther Joy King was going to win, and then you've got Eric Swanson out there, and he's the weatherman that they just kind of threw in last minute, and he won against Esther Joy King a couple of years ago, and now you've got Judge Joe McGraw in there, and they're not performing the way I had hoped they would. So you've got 63% of the vote going to Eric Swanson, the gay weatherman, and then you've got Joe McGraw, 36% of the vote, which these advertisements that Eric Swanson were running was really just disgusting, and very anti-Christian. He was making fun of the fact that Joe McGraw prayed before sentencing somebody to prison. Okay, so he's on tape talking about how he would pray over his decisions and ask God for guidance. And they're running like a hit ad or a hit piece on Joe McGraw via the ads. And it's really disappointing to see this. So Sharon Chung, Dave Kaler, they make your lives miserable in Bloomington, but of course you voted for them. The voters who are suffering from Stockholm syndrome, because Sharon Chung and Dave Kaler, they're the reason why you're not going to have clean drinking water. Okay, they voted to not protect that Mahomet aquifer from the carbon pipelines. Okay, so that's the kind of people you're voting into office, people who could give a damn about your clean drinking water. Right now, 35% of the vote for Desi Anderson, 64% of the vote for Sharon Chung. Like I said, very preliminary results here. I do want to talk a little bit more about some things that we saw this election cycle. But before I get to that, I want to talk about some nefarious things or abnormality, and not nefarious necessarily, just really weird incidents that have happened across the country and across this state. But first, let's check in with our presidential election. Let's see how Don's doing. 195. He needs 270 to win. And right now we're just kind of at a standstill. Kamala Harris has 117 electoral votes. They need 270 to win. So today I found out that Champaign County and Sangamon County, their voting systems went down this morning for a couple of hours. It's an abnormality. This is so odd that they talked, and the county clerk there in Champaign County had wanted to extend the voting hours until 9 o'clock, which is very abnormal. I don't know why that is. Could it be that they're trying to hike the sales tax? Could it be because they're trying to eliminate the county auditor out of retaliation? I don't know. But it was weird. You've got some shenanigans going on in Sangamon County. Actually, I read this today. There was an engineering student who went to the polls early because he needed to get somewhere, and he couldn't vote on time, and he got there really, really early, and there was this long line in front of him, and the voting systems failed. And he said, when asked for comment about how he had to wait in line, he just said, "I'm tired. I'm so tired." This is the most important election of our lifetimes, because for the simple fact that we don't trust our systems or in our services, our government services, or our institutions anymore. And we need good people, trustworthy people in these positions, so that way we can gain trust and integrity in these institutions, whether that be the education system, whether that be the election system, the U.S. Postal Service. I don't think a whole lot of people trust their government, and it's because you have untrustworthy people in there. Dave Kaler, he's got a bill now that goes and protects the Mahomet aquifer, but he only introduced this bill after taking away protections for the Mahomet aquifer. He sponsored the bill that approved these carbon pipelines to run underneath the Mahomet aquifer. Now you're, putting forward this half-ass bill after the fact. That tells me that you're untrustworthy. You expanded the McLean County tax base for the Bloomington Normal Airport Authority without going to referendum. That tells me you're an untrustworthy person, because you circumvented the law. You went around this process that we have to ensure there's representation when you're taxing a body of people. And you went around that process, not once, but twice. You also did it with Bloomington District 87, the school district there, when they acquired a new building for the district to, teach pre-K. They did it there. When you have untrustworthy people in these institutions and in government, it makes it really, really tough to be excited about our institutions, to trust our institutions. And I feel this guy, this voter who said it, out loud, he said, "I'm tired. Well, that's going to do it for our live election show, folks. We are going to be providing you more and more updates as these numbers come in throughout the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock hour. I'm going to stay up with you, and we'll provide like 2-minute updates through those hours. But we're going to go to Fox News now, and we're going to take their syndicated programming where they're going to be talking a lot about the presidential race and where Trump's at. But I so do appreciate you guys tuning in to this live election show brought to you by Couples Construction, New York Public Adjusting, and Tax and Accounting Plus. Really cool things going on. Very excited about this county auditor position not being eliminated. Thank goodness there's going to be some accountability in government still. But let's wrap it up with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Let's check in. Nothing new there. Nothing new. So, yeah, I think that we are just going to go to break. But I love you guys so much. Bye-bye. God bless you. Pray for this election. Just keep praying. And when we wake up in the morning, I'll have the results for you on the Daily Show, Conservative Cat, bright and early at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can find the results tonight at cities929.com. They'll be published there. And hey, just remember this. It doesn't matter who the leaders are in this world. We have an ultimate leader, and his name is Jesus, and he's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So have peace. Have peace about this election. I've got a ton of peace, and I'm very excited about a lot of things in this election that I'm seeing. And I think tonight, shout out to Jerry Klinkner. That was a really exciting thing to see how well he did despite the odds. All right, you guys have a blessed day. Bye-bye. Love you so much. We'll talk again soon.